And there came a time known as the third millennium, a time when the people of the earth were ravaged by disease, pestilence, and poisons. A time when the horsemen of the apocalypse ran the multinational corporations. A time when America's citizens were waking up to a future of no money and no jobs. A time when a special man came forward, a man that your American taskmasters did not want you to see or hear, a man whom they took prisoner and hid away, a man whose name is Yahweh ben Yahweh. For telling people the truth, Yahweh ben Yahweh was taken prisoner by the minions of darkness. For giving people hope, Yahweh ben Yahweh was led away to Golgotha. This is the continuing story of the past and of the future, about good and about evil, about your life and what it will become. A story that tells why the so-called black man of America had to suffer for over 400 years. A story of what will happen to the so-called black man if he returns to the laws, statutes, judgments, and commandments of God Yahweh. Olam shall Yahweh. The universe of Yahweh. Brought to you by the nation of Yahweh. Working for you and your future.
Good or evil, life or death. This is your choice in this, the year 6007, the year of judgment. Shalom and welcome to the universe of Yahweh. My name is Josiah Israel, and I am your host. For over 7 years now, we have been discussing some of the things the Bible said would occur in the day of judgment. We warned you that the weather was going to change, and that the powerful forces of nature were going to bring terrible destruction upon America and the world, and that it was going to get worse and worse and worse, and it has. We alerted you that violence in the public schools was going to increase, and it has. We showed you in the scriptures that forewarned of wickedness in high places, and we are witnessing today gross misconduct and serious crimes being committed by some of our highest elected officials. What lies ahead for America and the world is nothing less than the proliferation of deadly diseases and plagues as foretold in the Bible. But there is hope. The Bible tells us that at the end, the Messiah would be revealed, and at that time, he would save the righteous from this impending destruction. That one, the Messiah, is Yahweh ben Yahweh. So we invite you to join us in the universe of Yahweh, featuring the commandments of Yahweh and the Messiah revealed. First, the commandments of Yahweh.
For 6,000 years, we have been suffering at the hands of rulers who transgress the laws of Yahweh and teach all people throughout the earth to transgress the laws of Yahweh. In order to have peace, love, and harmony upon the earth, we must return to keeping the commandments, judgments, laws, and statutes of Yahweh. All of us have been taught that the commandments, judgments, laws, and statutes in the Old Testament Bible do not count today. In this series, we will show you that the commandments, judgments, laws, and statutes in the Old Testament Bible do count, and that if we govern our lives according to these commandments, judgments, laws, and statutes of God Yahweh, then we will have peace and goodwill upon the earth forever. We invite you to study along with us. However, in order to do so, you must have the following tools: a King James Version of the Bible, several dictionaries, the New Strong's Exhaustive Concordance, a set of encyclopedias, Hebrew and Greek lexicons, a thesaurus, and a synonym finder.
Shalom, my name is Sarah Abigail Israel. We have been discussing the commandments of Yahweh. We have established the fact that the first 2 commandments ever given to man were given to Adam in the Garden of Eden, which were to dress it and to keep it. We are continuing our study of the second of these 2 commandments, which is to keep it. In our Hebrew language, the word keep is shamar, and one of its meanings is to be on the lookout for, or to be expectant of the future birth of a child. In considering this definition, we are discussing some of the things the Bible said would happen to this one child, the Messiah, Yahweh ben Yahweh, that would clearly identify him as the one promised to come in the Old Testament, to first deliver or restore the lost sheep of the house of Israel, the so-called black man of America, who are descendants of slaves to the promised land, and then to gather his other sheep, which are not of this fold. Last week, we started a series to give you some background scriptures to set the stage for the next part of Matthew chapter 27, verse 64 we shall decode, and say unto the people, He is risen from the dead. We want to prove beyond a reasonable doubt what the government's greatest fear is all about. Now, we told you that one such reason they are afraid is because they know that eventually those who profess belief in Jesus as Christ or follow the religion based on his teachings are going to come to us, the pupils of Yahweh ben Yahweh, and confess that they have inherited lies, vanity, and things wherein there is no profit. Retrospectively, in our discussion last week, we defined the word lies, and one of its synonyms was equivocation. And this is the word that will be the focus of our discussion today, after this brief message.
The United States government has declared war against Yahweh ben Yahweh and the nation of Yahweh in its Project Megiddo report, released by the FBI in October 1999. Do you know that this is fulfillment of prophecy? It was prophesied in Revelation 12:7 that there was war in heaven. Michael, the Messiah, and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven. In the government's report, the nation of Yahweh is labeled as extreme terrorists, accused of believing that white people are incarnate manifestations of evil. We are even accused of preparing for a race war and are practicing paramilitary operations, none of which are true. This is a divinely declared word war, whose end result was already declared from the beginning. Since war has been declared, read the Nation of Yahweh's battle plan called Operation Word War on the internet at www.yahwehbenyahweh.com.
Loading. One moment, please. The new Yahweh ben Yahweh website now offers the latest in streaming technology to aid you in your study of the laws and teachings of Yahweh ben Yahweh. Visit yahwehbenyahweh.com and learn about the Tetragrammaton, the meaning of the crucifixion, and how to keep the Sabbath. yahwehbenyahweh.com is your home for truth and insight. Read, about Operation Word War and how you can work to balance justice. Shalom.
Welcome back. Accepting the credibility of Bartlett's Roget's Thesaurus, copyright 1996, on page 941, reference number 330.1, we can state truthfully that the word equivocation means the same as Jesuitism. Given the assurance of the Random House Webster's College Dictionary, copyright 2001, on page 711, a Jesuit, a derivative of Jesuitism, is an equivocating person, a member of a Roman Catholic religious order called Society of Jesus. On page 1144, Roman Catholic is described as a member of the Roman Catholic Church. Roman Catholic Church is defined as the Christian Church, of which the Pope is the supreme head. And on page 236, a Christian is one who adheres to the religion based on the teachings of Jesus Christ. We can conclude from these facts that people who adhere to the religion based on the teachings of Jesus as Christ, priests, nuns, missionaries, ministers, and the like, were commissioned by the Pope, the supreme head of the Christian religion, to spread lies to the ends of the earth. To authenticate the reality of this, Time Almanac 2002, on page 436, states that the Roman Catholic Church is the largest Christian organization in the world, found in most countries. And on page 708, there are more than 6 billion people on earth. And according to the World Almanac and Book of Facts 2003, on page 638, over 2 billion people adhere to the religion based on the teachings of Jesus as Christ. Knowing all of this, the chief priests and Pharisees are trembling with fear because they know that Yahweh ben Yahweh taught his pupils the truth about all of these things, and therefore they are afraid that we, the pupils of Yahweh ben Yahweh, will expose all of their hidden lies and will tell this truth to all who profess belief in Jesus as Christ or follow the religion based on his teachings. Job chapter 2, verse 2 verifies how lies have been spread to the ends of the earth, and it reads, "And the Lord Yahweh said unto Satan, From whence comest thou? And Satan answered the Lord Yahweh and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it." The Pope, the father of Christianity, sent his priests, nuns, missionaries, ministers, and the like to the ends of the earth. And to this day, they are going to and fro and walking up and down in the earth, making the sign of the cross to mislead the people to believe that Jesus is the Christ, knowing full well that the Guinness Book of Records 1993 edition on page 387 states that the newest letters added to the English alphabet are J and V, which are of the post-Shakespearean use, about 1630. When you subtract 1630 from 2004, you would get 374 years. Even to this day, there is no letter J in neither the Greek nor Hebrew languages. Given the veracity of these facts, we can state emphatically that absolutely no one walked the earth 2,000 years ago with the name Jesus. The truth of the matter is, Jesus is a figment of the painter Michelangelo's perverted imagination. In fact, Jesus is the world's greatest myth, craftily masterminded over thousands of years by the popes, or the fathers, the supreme heads of the Roman Catholic Church, and their subordinates, who have caused the people from the ends of the earth to inherit lies. This is another very important point we must make very clear to you, and that is, all that is written in the New Testament comes from the Old Testament. In fact, the New Testament is a messianic prophecy of the Old Testament. This can be authenticated in almost every Bible. Based on the believability of the Random House Webster's College Dictionary, copyright 2001, on page 891, new, by definition, describes things that have not existed or have not been known or seen before. And on page 1352, the word testament means proof. These facts authenticate that the Old Testament prophecies are written in the New Testament as proof of the messianic prophecies that describe things that have not existed or have not been known or seen before. That being the case, Jesus is a substitute name for Yahweh ben Yahweh, the one promised to come to fulfill the messianic prophecies. And as prophesied, Yahweh ben Yahweh has come in his Father's name, Yahweh, as written in John chapter 5, verse 43. The chief priests and Pharisees are scared stiff because they recognize that if those who profess belief in Jesus as Christ or follow the religion based on his teachings ever come to understand that they have inherited these lies, then they, the chief priests and Pharisees, will lose both their place of trust in the minds of the people and their nation. With this understanding, it should be crystal clear as to why the chief priests and Pharisees are so fearful of the pupils of Yahweh ben Yahweh, saying to the people, "He is risen from the dead," and why this is such a compelling interest to the American government. This is the point at which we shall end our discussion today. So, join us next week as we continue our series to expose why the chief priests and Pharisees fear that the pupils of Yahweh ben Yahweh will say unto the people, "He is risen from the dead," as we continue to explore the dark sayings or parables in the Holy Bible and their connection to the pupils of Yahweh ben Yahweh, taking a native command of a language or linguistic rule, while simultaneously maintaining our course of singling out the family of Adam from the perspective of the word watch and its relationship to keep. I bear witness to you today that the Messiah, Yahweh ben Yahweh, is here.
I bear witness to you today that the Mahdi is here.
I bear witness to you today that Shiloh is here.
I bear witness to you today that the great light is here.
I bear witness to you today that the Grand Master of the Celestial Lodge, Architect of the universe, is here.
I bear witness to you today that the Enlightened One is here.
I bear witness to you today that the one all religions has been speaking of for almost 6,000 years is here.
Thank you for listening, and join us next week as we continue our discussion of the commandments of Yahweh.
is worthy? Who is worthy to open the book? Who is worthy to open the book and loose the seals thereof?
And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, and girt about the paps with a golden girdle. His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire, and his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace, and his voice as the sound of many waters. At the end of time of evil rule, the Anointed One, the Messiah, shall appear. In 1979, Yahweh Ben Yahweh came to Miami and became the spiritual leader and founder of the Nation of Yahweh. Although he took a vow of poverty, in 7 years he guided the nation to amass a $250 million empire. Under his direction, the Nation of Yahweh has grown to encompass disciples, followers, and supporters in over 1,300 cities within the U.S. and 16 foreign countries. Yahweh Ben Yahweh is bringing about changes in the lives of individuals and is giving the world the keys to success in life, politically, economically, educationally, socially, and spiritually.
In Luke chapter 2, verse 7, it reads that she brought forth her firstborn and wrapped him in swaddling clothes and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn. And in Luke chapter 2, verse 12, it says, "And this shall be a sign unto you. Ye shall find the babe wrapped in swaddling clothes, lying in a manger."
The word lying in Greek is kamai, and it means to be outstretched, be appointed, laid up, made, set, lay, and lie. This word reveals that the babe, Yahweh Ben Yahweh, the Messiah, was appointed from the foundation of the world to come in the name of Yahweh. Blessed be he that comes in the name Yahweh. Psalm chapter 118, verse 26. This word lying also reveals that Yahweh Ben Yahweh would come forth as the headstone of all nations, which is written in Zechariah chapter 4, verse 7. The babe, Yahweh Ben Yahweh, the stone, which the builders of civilization refused, is become the headstone of the corner, the symbol of a 90-degree right angle, which stands for upright, plumb, moral uprightness, incorruptibility, trustworthiness, truthfulness, equity, and honor. Psalm chapter 118, verse 22. Did you never read in the scriptures, the stone which the builders of civilization rejected? The same Yahweh Ben Yahweh is become the head of the corner. This is the doing of Yahweh, and it is marvelous in our eyes. Matthew chapter 21, verse 42. One must ask the question, what is this mystery that is written? The stone which the builders of civilization rejected. The same is become the head of the corner in Luke chapter 20, verse 17. Be it known unto you all, and to all the people of Israel, that by the name of Yahweh Ben Yahweh, whom the U.S. government crucified by judicial murder in their courts, whom Yahweh raised from among the spiritually dead lost sheep of the house of Israel, even by him does the nation of Yahweh stand here before you whole. This is the stone which was set at naught of you builders, which is become the head of the corner. Acts chapter 4, verses 10 and 11.
remember that this is the morning of the third day, and I shall rise again. I am the resurrection. All of prophecy tells you that I shall rise again. It's all about that. Luke chapter 2, verse 34. No doubt about it. Again, I love you forever, bless you forever. I remind you once again, my associates are children of the light. That just brings laughter to my heart, to my soul, to realize that at last I have those of you that love peace. And I only want to be in the presence of those of you that love peace. I love you forever. Shalom Aleichem.
The word lying reveals that the babe, Yahweh ben Yahweh, the Messiah, was appointed from the foundation of the world to come in the name Yahweh. The word lying also reveals that Yahweh ben Yahweh would come as the headstone of all nations. Yahweh ben Yahweh, the stone, which the builders of civilization refused, has become the headstone of the corner, symbolizing his uprightness, incorruptibility, trustworthiness, and honor. Thank you for joining us in the universe of Yahweh. And now, we'd like to invite all of you to pray with us as we turn to the east with outstretched hands and say a prayer to our Heavenly Father, Yahweh, the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew. Come, let us pray. Tefillah, Ave Nu Shabashamayim, Yikar Deshameaka, Tavo Malkateaka, Yase Razonka, Kivashamayim Kang Baaretz, Et Lekam Kukenu, Tain La Nu Hayom, Uslak La Nu, All Cartier Nu, Ki Moshe Solkim, Gamanak Nu, La Koteom Nanu, Veal Tefie Nu, Lade Nisayom, Kim Kal Se Nu, Min Hara, Kilaka, Hamumlaha, Veha Givera, Veha Tiferet, Leolame, Olamin Sila. We thank thee, O Yahweh, O living and eternal King, who has so mercifully restored our souls within us. Selah. Praise Yahweh, and always remember that the Father Yahweh and his Son Yahweh ben Yahweh love you, and your host loves you too. Shalom Aleichem.
To order the companion book to the series, The Messiah Revealed, call 1-800-967-PEACE. That's 1-800-967-7337. And when you call, ask about the special discount on Yahweh ben Yahweh, the Lord of the Harvest. Videos of this program are available. When ordering, please refer to the program number on the screen.
You can now access the divine mind of Yahweh ben Yahweh on the internet at the address on the screen.